Good morning,
So excited
everyone.
you're here this morning. Guys, we got a pretty exciting Sunday. Do you know why? Do you want to take any guesses?
I am pretty excited because
Yeah.
this is my first Sunday hosting.
That is
I'm
true.
pumped up. I'm
Which
on the
means
screen.
that this is the first time that we have Josh and Josh hosting.
That's
It's
right.
super exciting.
Yeah, first time in history of Connexus, in history
True.
of transit, that
True.
we have. We were talking about this before.
Yeah,
we have
we were.
Josh and Josh, but we also have two hosts with the same name.
Yeah, not only has Josh and Josh never happened, but two people with the same name has never happened.
First time ever.
Super
So,
exciting.
We're
We
record
are-
breaking.
We are
Yeah.
trendsetters. You know what?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to change their name. They're going to have the same name. It's
Yeah.
going to be like week to week. People are going to change their name, so it's the same.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited.
Now, I have a question, and before I ask this question, just remember that I am always hosting, and you guys are my favorite.
But this is an important question.
This is
You
very
need to
important.
listen
But
up
you
to
have
this
to
one.
remember that you guys are my favorite. We just want to know who's your favorite Josh. And remember, I've never left transit.
Yeah, so let us-
Transit is my life. I love transit. Shut up, put that out there.
Oh
You
my
throw it in,
gosh.
throw it in. You know who's favorite?
What an
We all know who
opening.
it is.
Transit
We all
is my
know.
life. Oh my god. Okay, so let us know in the chat who is the best J. Let's see here. Is it JB or JR? We'll see here. Hey, we see this is a harder decision than
Okay,
people
so,
say. We got some people thinking about this right
Okay,
now.
Emily Young, that is a fair point. Your brother Josh is pretty cool. He's don't tell JB, but he's definitely.
And you know what? We have actually a very nice crowd. Everyone's saying Josh. So I mean, like, it's
Yeah,
not
you
a
got it.
wrong
Okay.
answer.
It's not a wrong answer.
What a nice crowd we have here at Transit. We're like,
You know,
yeah.
I think they just don't want to make you feel bad because I'm definitely their favorite.
Yeah.
It's definitely me.
Well, you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. You know what? That's
I've been here longer.
Fair
They know
enough.
me.
fair
Yeah.
enough.
All right. Well, we
Awesome.
actually have a super exciting morning planned for you. JB, do you want to tell them what we're doing next?
Yeah. So we're back with a favorite on High Demand. We have
It's true.
another unofficial world record. So,
It's true.
quickly for anyone who may be new here today, what an unofficial world record is that we take a real world record and
Yeah.
we try to unofficially beat it. Basically, we don't have the professional guy come
Yeah, I know. It's
and
a-
let us know. Yeah, we were honestly thinking about it, but we
We
failed
tried,
two
but it's-
times.
yeah.
We want to beat one world record before we call this guy up.
It's true.
Make
Yeah.
him come.
We don't want to embarrass ourselves.
Yeah. So,
Well, mostly you. You're the one who's doing that.
well, yeah. So I feel like if I failed miserably in front of the guy, Jared would just leave. I think,
I would
I think
probably
he would
also
stop
laugh.
taping and he'd just leave me there by myself to say
All
sorry.
right. Well, so JB attempted a record again this past week, and
Yeah.
do you want to tell them what it was?
Yeah, so basically what the record was is I had to stick as many sticky notes to my face as I could
In 60 seconds.
in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Yes. And they had to stay there for 10 seconds afterwards.
Yeah, so that we knew they were actually on properly.
Right. So, yeah, so I think the record before was 58.
It was 58, meaning we had to get 59 to break the record.
So 59 sticky notes on my face.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess we'll show you guys how that went right now.
yeah.
What's up, Transit? We're here with another unofficial world record. So I think now we've done two. We're 0 for 2 to this point, but I'm hoping this is going to be the time where I finally beat it. I think it's pretty doable. The world record is that we have to put over 58 sticky notes on my face within 60 seconds. So yeah, I think that's doable. Let me know what you think in the chat if I can do it or not. But yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. Yeah, Jared, am I good to go?
Well, you just took one off, so we're gonna have to scrap
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah. Okay, that's a discard. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what? That's a bad start. But hey, so the record's 58. I'm gonna try to get 59. We'll see how this goes. And we're gonna start the timer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh man. Oh, that's not a good start. They're not sticky. No! They're not sticking to my face. No! Oh. Okay. Okay, I beat the system. They are on my face. I've lost count. What is that? Is that 5, 6? I'm gonna say that's 7. 8. 9. 10.
Timer is up.
Turn off the camera. I'm done. Turn it off.
Now, JB, I think we could do a little better the next time. You didn't get a single one on your face.
Yeah, as a first time hosting, this is pretty embarrassing.
Hosting?
Being like, oh man, I feel epically failing in front of all transit. So
It's true.
at least before when I was behind the scenes, I could be like, okay, I don't have to.
They don't have to see you after.
Don't forget about it. Like at
Yeah.
the end of the day, no, I have to like publicly like be like, yeah, that sucked.
you didn't get a single one. Not even
one.
close.
Yeah. You
No.
know what?
You know what's the funny part, Transit? He was actually, like, before he attempted it, he was so confident that he was going to beat
Yeah.
the record. He was insane. He was like, oh, this is the easiest thing ever. I'm going to destroy it.
I was like, this is
And
gonna be.
He missed by 58.
You know what? This might be a lesson for everyone here. Maybe too much confidence isn't the best thing.
No,
Walking
confidence
into
is a good thing.
something.
Yeah.
I was really confident. And like, man, I knew it was all going downhill when I had my face on the side like this and I was throwing sticky notes. I felt them falling off. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
brutal.
Now, I just want to show, if you are new here, Transit is a place where you can discover a faith of your own,
Yeah.
have a ton of fun, and invite your friends, because we have so much fun, we might as well share it.
Yeah, and also, one more thing, if you're brand new, we have a link right under the video.
Yeah.
Right here on your screen, I'm looking at it right now. It's a new here link, and go on, click on that link, and we're gonna send you, what are we gonna send them?
We're going to send you some Transit swag.
Transit swag. That's like my favorite part of transit. Transit swag.
Just saying Transit swag? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty fun. you guys should try it at home. Just yell Transit swag.
Yeah, that's
Your
right.
parents will be very confused, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Transit swag.
All right, now we have... What's next, JB? What's next?
Yeah, so we're going to have our game for today. Our game for today is called Would You Rather, but it's not any normal Would You Rather.
It's
It's Would You Rather Extreme Edition.
That is right. It is an extreme edition of Would You Rather.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this is pretty simple. A slide's going to come up. There's going to be 2 options. And you're just going to have to throw it in the chat. Which one would you rather? And we'll do it too. We'll play along. You know, it's going to be fun.
Pretty simple, but really fun.
Really fun.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what the first one is. Oh, would you rather have no elbows or no knees?
I was not expecting that as the first one. Would I rather have no elbows?
I don't know. No.
I don't know. I don't know what life would be like without no elbows or no knees.
See, I don't think I could host without elbows. I
Yeah.
can't get the mic close enough.
Like, I guess if you didn't have knees, like, could you,
You could just,
stand
like,
up?
A penguin's. You just waddle like a penguin.
Maybe it would. Yeah, maybe it would give me a reason to like be lazy or something.
That's true.
'Cause I
What are
couldn't-
people in the chat saying?
What's
I
everyone
see
saying?
quite a few no elbows.
Yeah.
That's interesting. See, I would totally want elbows.
I'm actually seeing everyone.
Emily Young
saying
says
elbows.
no. Emily Young said no knees.
Okay. Nate the Great said 11. Okay.
11.
Maybe you just typed 1 2 times.
That's true. Oh, they're numbered here. 1 and 2.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't
I
even see
noticed
that.
that too.
I didn't even see that.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of no elbows.
It seems like mostly everyone is
Yeah.
saying no elbows. So,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know. All right. We'll see the next one. Would you rather go to prison for a year or eat a dog?
Eat a dog.
It's not even a question.
Eat a dog 100%.
Prison for a year.
What?
I don't want to eat a dog.
I would be so scared going to prison. Yeah, so.
But I don't want to eat a dog. I love dogs.
Yeah.
See,
Man,
now, are you a
do you
dog
see-
person or
okay.
a cat person?
I'm a dog person.
Then why
I've
would you
always,
pick this one?
And I know that sounds terrible,
Mhm.
but eating a dog, it takes 2 seconds. You could just take a bite, or you could spend a year in prison.
I guess that's true. Do you have to eat a full dog or just like eat?
See, they're not specific.
It's true.
So I'd be like, if I had to take a bite and then I'd like spit it out and I'd run away and everything would be okay.
Now I'm gonna say most people here, like they're saying go to prison for a year. They don't want to eat a dog.
Yeah. So personally, I would say, okay, but everyone's saying going to prison for a year. So
Yeah.
no wonder most people like picked you as the favorite because man, I've gone against them each time on the would you rather. So
Yeah, all right, let's see the next one.
okay.
All right. Would you rather have fingers that shoot spaghetti or have feet that turn into skates?
Okay, so I can't skate. So definitely fingers that shoot spaghetti.
See, like I'm not horrible at skating, but I would still have fingers that shoot spaghetti. Anyways, this is sick. You should walk around.
You would
shooting spaghetti.
So there's a couple positives I see that. Number 1, you would never go hungry.
No, you
And
always have spaghetti.
Number 2, you could probably help world hunger a lot. Just like shoot spaghetti.
Yeah, I guess.
Everything goes good. Yeah.
I was
that
going
would
out of a different angle, but yeah, that's
that
true.
would be- that's the first thing that came to my head. So, hey, I think that's a positive
All right.
thing. Feet that turn to skates, I think that's just weird.
Now,
I don't
see,
know.
this one's pretty evenly split, actually. There's quite a few people who are saying, have fingers that shoot spaghetti, but there's quite a few people who would like to have their feet turn into skates.
Yeah. But hopefully you could like control it. Like imagine if like
that's
you're
true.
just like in the middle of class, just like chilling out, and then like spaghetti shoots and hits another kid.
No,
But,
you wouldn't want that.
Be embarrassing.
All right, well, we're going to go to the next one,
Okay.
and we'll see what it is. All right, would you rather live in a world without ice cream
Oh man.
or live in a world without bacon?
I don't think I can choose.
This is horrible.
This is okay, and if you don't take time to think about this, man.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, woo!
I don't want to be in a world without either.
This is a hard one. Okay, I feel like I'd say ice cream, and I know there is other meat in the world, so I feel like, okay, it would be super sad. Don't get me wrong, it'd be very sad.
True.
But imagine all the different flavors of ice cream you'd be losing.
So you would want to live in a world without bacon? Is what you're saying?
I don't want to live in a world without
I
it
know.
either, but like,
This is a horrible
if I had to
question.
pick one, this is like, oh man, this is like a horror scenario to me.
I think I would live in a world without bacon.
Okay.
Because I am a big fan of breakfast sausages. So I gotta have those. Long.
Right, that's what I mean. Like,
I could replace the bacon.
you
I wouldn't
have
like
other
it.
meat, yeah.
I wouldn't like it, but I could do it.
And I would put a picture of bacon in my home so I'd never forget the memory of bacon. Because
This one's
bacon
pretty-
is an amazing thing.
A lot of people would rather live without bacon, but there are a few who would rather live without ice cream.
Yeah. Deborah, bacon for sure. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Amelia Chubb says she would rather live without ice cream. That's cool. That's cool.
Okay.
All right, we'll see the next one.
Get
Okay.
paid $1 million to have the word idiot tattooed on your forehead or
Ooh.
be a movie star that makes no money at all.
I get the $1 million.
Yeah,
It's $1
I
million.
would say $1 million.
That's
And
pretty sick.
actually, a very good point I heard is that you can get it tattooed under your eyebrow and then grow out your eyebrow again.
It's true, so you won't even really see it.
So you're like, yeah, you're beating the
Oh, no,
system
it
here.
says forehead. I don't think eyebrow counts on
forehead.
forehead.
I thought it said
Yeah.
face.
No, it says forehead.
Oh, that's
I
okay.
I want the $1 million.
You just
Okay,
get
yeah.
hair. You just get hair that covers it, and it's like no problem.
What?
If it's on your forehead, you get it tattooed on your forehead. You get like long
you
hair
s-
that
yeah.
comes down. I've had that hair before. It's not my favorite, but you know,
You
like,
have?
yeah, I've had long hair when I was a kid, and at the same time, I got $1 million. So
What? We need some photo evidence of this. I definitely do not want to miss
there's
out on that.
lots. Oh man.
All right. Well, we are going to do one more. Would you rather?
Okay.
Let's check it out. Would you rather go to the moon or take an all expenses paid vacation anywhere on Earth?
All expenses paid vacation. Oh
Yeah,
wait, seeing the universe though would be so cool.
Yeah, but you know where you can also do that? Google Earth.
Google Earth. Well, he's not wrong.
Honestly,
he's not
Google
wrong.
Earth.
Yeah,
Also, there's a ton of space movies. Just watch a movie.
exactly.
I would definitely want to go anywhere. Now, here's the thing. Where would you go anywhere in the world?
Oh man, it would be something. It would be somewhere tropical. For
Tropical,
sure.
ooh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pick something so basic though. Like what's coming to my head is like Dominican Republic or something like that. So like
Okay,
it's
all
so
right.
basic, but like I really want to go somewhere like that, and I would spend so much money because it's like all expenses paid.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
man.
see, I would want to go to Banff. There's
Banff!
Yeah, you go skiing.
Yeah.
There's some cool golf courses if you go in like the spring.
We have some beautiful places here in Canada.
I would want to
Like,
go to Banff.
yeah.
You know, we got the Rocky Mountains. It'd be pretty cool.
For sure. Okay.
Cool.
What's everyone saying?
Yeah, what are people saying?
Most-
A
okay.
lot of people are agreeing with us, I think. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Oh, no. A lot of people are agreeing with us.
Yes.
There's
Actually,
a few people who... One sec. Let's see. Who would want to go to the moon?
I see that Matt4050. He's saying he wants to go to the moon, and
Okay,
I
okay.
don't. I'm not gonna blame him. Like the moon.
PJ
would
Jam
be-
also wants to go to the moon.
the
So
moon
does
would be-
Amelia Chubb. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I see.
Yeah, these have all been hard decisions
Mm-hmm.
all the way around.
No, not easy.
Yeah,
These
For
are
sure.
these are some of the toughest
they
questions
were not
we have to
lying when
ask.
they said extreme. So
No, they were right. All right. Well, I think that's it for this game. But I'm super excited because we are hopping into a new series called Do Something, where we're going to be talking about injustice. And one of the most common injustices in today's world is racial injustice. And so I know this past month has been Black History Month, and so you might have talked a little bit about it in school or at home or just around. And we've decided to continue the conversation here in transit because we believe that this conversation is very important and it should happen year round, not just during 1 month. And so one of the ways that we're going to do that is we're going to learn about people who aren't in our culture,
Yeah,
like
and
some
actually-
different cultures.
Yeah, and to start us off, I
Yeah.
have a great example of someone. Her name is Marianne Shad. Marianne moved to Canada, escaping from slavery in the USA. And when she came to Canada, she wanted to help other people who were experiencing the same thing that she did. So she actually opened a school for the children of families that were escaping slavery from the USA in Canada. And actually, this was called an interracial school where all races could learn together. But then Marianne went a step further. She wanted to help people even more. So she started a newspaper, one of the biggest anti-slavery newspapers in North America, called the Provincial Freeman. And Marianne became not only the first female, but the first Black woman to start and be the main editor on one of the biggest anti-slavery newspapers in North America. And something that's really interesting about all of this is that it happened right in our own backyard. That's right, it happened in Windsor, Ontario, which is just about 4 hours away.
That's pretty close.
From Barrie. And personally, something I can take from Marianne is that she wanted to be both for people all around the world with her newspaper, but also people right in our community, right where she was.
Yeah, and I was learning about this guy this week. His name is Mifflin Gibbs, and he's a pretty cool guy. He was actually insanely smart. He was not only a judge but also a lawyer. Also, he was a banker for a bit. And one of the coolest things is he was actually a politician, and he was the first ever Black man to be elected into public office, which is super cool. And one of the things that he really stood for, he was a political advocate, and he really stood for rights for people of color. And one of the cool things that he did was he really kickstarted the change in legislation in Canada, and that was super cool because he was for people all over the country, and it was pretty sick.
That's great. And I'm really excited to hear about some more examples of people who took a stand to injustice around the world and in Canada. But now we're going to jump on over to our message. And it's definitely true that one of the loudest voices against injustice is Jesus.
That's right.
Jesus was a super loud voice against injustice. And I'm super excited for us to have the opportunity in this message to learn about ways that we ourselves can stand up against injustice. But first, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pray. God, I pray that you'll speak through the message today to every single student watching transit today on what you say about injustice and also what Jesus did. I pray that we can learn about what Jesus did in standing up against injustice. And I pray that you'll teach us things and also teach us how to stand up against injustice ourselves. In Jesus' name, amen.
doesn't love a good superhero or superheroine? Am I right? I mean, if I had a superpower, it would probably be like flying or something. Besides the cool costumes and the amazing accessories and the superhuman strength and the incredible powers, I think one of the reasons we love superheroes so much is because of what they do. They see something wrong happening around them and they step in to make it right. They take action to solve the problem. They step in to defend. In other words, they do something about it. For us though, if we're going to do something, we need to learn more about injustice and take a look at what God has to say about it. Let's start by defining injustice together. Have you heard of the word justice before? Justice simply means something is right, fair, or equal. Injustice is the opposite of that. So when we talk about injustice, we're talking about the things in our world that are unfair, unequal, or not right. There are probably a lot of things that might come to mind when you think about injustices in our world. Things like children who are starving, families living in poverty, natural disasters, or racism. That's the kind of stuff we know is wrong. But if we're honest, it's also the stuff that feels really big. It feels like stuff we can't do much about. Honestly, I get that feeling. Some of the most obvious injustices in the world feel like challenges we just can't overcome. And because of that, we feel like we just have to hang up our superhero cape and let somebody older or wiser or more powerful do something about it. But what if I told you that you have a lot more power to do something about injustice than you realize? What if I told you that right now you have the potential to do something about the hurts and wrongs and unfair things you see in the world around you? Whether we realize it or not, there are so many injustices, big and small, happening in the world around us every day. The problem is that often, if they're not big or huge or obvious wrongs, we just don't see them. Sure, we might question them or wonder why these things are happening. We don't recognize them as injustices. To us, this is just the way things are. Think about it. Did you know that some teenagers can afford to get a tutor when they're struggling at school, but others can't? Some people don't get to join the team because they can't pay the fees. Some people have to protest in the streets in order to get their voice heard. Did you know that some schools can give all their students laptops for distance learning, but others don't have access to that kind of technology? Some students are forced to wear the same clothes every day. Two students of different races can get caught for the same thing at school, but only one might get in trouble. Some middle schoolers get bullied every week on Instagram, on TikTok, on Snapchat, but nobody speaks up about it. Did you know that a guy and a girl might have the exact same grades in class, but one will be treated like they're smarter? Did you know some people have no money, so they have to beg for it on the side of the street? You notice it because you've experienced it. You see it because you've lived it. For you, some of this injustice is very real. But for others of you, this may be brand new stuff that you're just noticing. And all of the stuff that's happening in your school or in your community or your neighborhood or even right here at church that just feels off to you, that stuff is probably the result of some kind of injustice, some kind of unfair or unequal treatment of people. So what do we do about it? I think there's something inside of most of us that wants to see things made right. We can't be part of the solution to problems that we don't even see as problems. Remember, we said the first step to making things right is to simply start seeing. So how do we do that? What can we do to open our eyes to the injustices around us? Let me let you in on a secret. We aren't the first people to have this problem. We aren't the first people to experience a world filled with injustices. And we aren't the first people to not notice them from time to time. We aren't the first people who needed a little help opening our eyes and seeing injustice. I think that's part of the reason Jesus made a habit of pointing out things to people that they hadn't seen or noticed before. So much of his ministry on earth was about helping people see the world through his eyes. And today we're gonna look at one of the times he did just that. There was this guy named Matthew who actually experienced life with Jesus. He knew him, he followed him, and he wrote down a lot of what he saw Jesus say and do. And today we're gonna take a look at some of what Matthew wrote down. So when we're reading his account of Jesus' life, we're reading it from somebody who saw and experienced it firsthand. That's pretty cool. In this particular encounter, Jesus was trying to help those who were listening to him speak understand that part of following him means seeing and caring about the injustices around them. And what we're about to read, Jesus was comparing the righteous people to the unrighteous people. Now, when we talk about righteous people, we're talking about people who do good and want to help others. And when we talk about unrighteous people, we're talking about people who don't do good and aren't willing to help others. Let's look at what Jesus said. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" Okay, so maybe you're hearing this and thinking what the people who were listening back then thought. What in the world is Jesus talking about here? When was he hungry or thirsty or in need of clothing? When was he sick or in prison? That's not anywhere in the Bible, right? Well, technically you're right. Those injustices didn't happen directly to Jesus, and so his followers didn't really see them. They didn't recognize that responding to them might be important parts of showing their love for him. But look at how Jesus responded. The king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Did you catch that? Jesus was saying that the righteous people, which remember, is just another way to say people who choose to do good and want to help others, are people who see and look for the injustices around them. They care about the least of these, which are those who need the most help, feel the most pain, or get the worst treatment. They recognize when someone is hungry, or in prison, or sick, or left out. They see the injustice in the way these people are treated. They see the injustice in their circumstances. They care about it. They act on it. They do something about it. Why? Because in caring for those who are being treated as less than or left out, they're showing they care about what Jesus cares about and that they love the people that God loves. I think the people listening at the time probably struggled with some of the same things we struggle with when it comes to injustice. They didn't see it. They didn't recognize it happening around them, and because of that, they didn't respond. But Jesus was reminding us that his people are those who look for people in their neighborhoods or schools who need the most help. They feel the most pain or get the worst treatment. And whether you're a follower of Jesus or still trying to figure out this whole faith thing, I think this is important for all of us because we all want a world that's better, right? We all want the wrongs we see to be right. We want things to be fair and good and equal. And God wants that too. And that all starts with seeing. Before you do something about injustice, you have to see it. It's easy to think something you don't really see isn't really there. It's easy to think that because you don't recognize it or aren't impacted by it, and it just isn't that big of a deal. But the truth is that injustice is everywhere. And if we want to be people who do something about it, we have to start by seeing it. Remember, before you do something about injustice, you have to see it. Now, if you are experiencing any of the injustices we talked about today, and I know there are some of you who are, I want to say that I am so sorry. What you've experienced isn't right or fair or good. But I don't want you to check out just yet, because what you are experiencing matters. And we're going to be talking about what to do when you're in that situation more next week. But for today, though, I want us to focus on this. We have to see the injustice before we can do something about it. So how can we open our eyes to the injustices happening in our world? First, move close enough to see it. You know those eye charts you have to look at when you go to the eye doctor? It's harder to read the letters and words on them when they're like far away, right? The closer you get, the easier it is to recognize what's on the chart. Well, the same is true with injustice. If we want to see injustice in the world around us, we have to be brave enough to stay close enough to see it. We can't turn our eyes or shrug it off even when what we see makes us feel uncomfortable. Instead, We have to put ourselves in the position to see it. That means maybe getting to know someone at school who's different than you. It means talking to a few different trusted adults about some questions you have about potential injustices you see in your school or your community or your neighborhood. It even means asking God to help you see it, to change the way you see the people and the circumstances around you. Second, be curious enough to learn. The quickest way to see injustice is to listen to the people experiencing it. So try that. Stop and listen. When someone tells you about an injustice they've experienced, just listen. Don't argue or change the subject or give your opinion or try to fix it right then and there. One of the first things you can do to act against injustice is to be a listener. The more you listen, the more you'll learn. And the more you learn, the more you'll see. Even if someone doesn't open up to you about an injustice they're experiencing, there are still ways you can learn about injustice from others. One place to start is to pick one injustice you've heard about today and research the history on it. Learn where it started, how it's research some people or organizations that are doing good work to help fight that injustice today. Now, here's a heads up. This stuff might make you uncomfortable at first. It might be hard to hear about or difficult to see somebody experiencing injustice around you. And it's certainly awful to experience injustice yourself. You might struggle to understand it or recognize why it's so bad or even agree that what someone is telling you is wrong or unjust. Don't shy away from the conversation just because it makes you uncomfortable. Instead, do your best to listen. Take your questions to adults in your life you can trust and keep asking God to help you see injustice for what it is. That's your first step, and trust me, it's a big one. Be curious about your own experience too. Here's what I mean. Have you ever experienced an injustice, but you've brushed it off because everyone around you kept saying it's no big deal? Like when you're really struggling in math class. Some of your classmates can afford to get a tutor after school, but your family just doesn't have the extra money to do that. So you study as much as you can on your own just to get the passing grade. Or maybe you've even participated in injustice without realizing it. Like when you made a hurtful comment on social media that upset someone of a different race than you. You just didn't understand what your comment meant in the first place, so you didn't see why it was such a big deal. You can't know what you'll discover until you get curious. So be curious about how injustice may be impacting your life and the lives of those around you. If we want to do something about the injustice around us, we have to start with moving close enough to see the injustice, being curious about others' experiences with injustice, and thinking about your own experiences with injustice. Maya Angelou, a famous woman who wrote about injustice a lot, summed this up perfectly. She said this: "Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." That's my hope for you. That you'll begin to see what or who you haven't seen before, and then you'll begin to act, so that together we can do something. Remember, before you do something about injustice, you have to see it. One of the best places to start talking about what it means to see injustice is with your group. We've created these groups to be a safe place for you to listen, ask questions, and encourage each other to do something great in this world together.
Wow, that was a great message, and I definitely like the line that before you can do something about injustice, first you have to see it. That really stood out to me.
Yeah.
That line.
It
yeah.
is.
JR, is there any times where you saw injustice?
Yeah, actually, one of the things that I do, I've done in past summers is I go up to Pioneer Camp, and I'm actually a chalet leader there, and I love shadowing for SN campers, special needs campers, and one of the things that I love so much about it is that they're just so fun, and I get to hang out with them all the time. And there was one time where I was hanging out with one of my campers who had special needs, and we were going to do this wide game. And now my camper, he didn't love to like run around or stuff. He just kind of liked to kind of sit on the side and just kind of watch things, observe, and that was great. And as we were going into the dining hall to really to hear the rules. There was a couple kids who kind of knew that he just sat on the side, and they would kind of cut in front of him, and it was like, oh, like he's not gonna play. He has special needs, and like he doesn't need to come in, and he doesn't need to see the rules, and that really bugged me because they were kind of treating him differently just because he had special needs, and they weren't acting fair. And that really is what injustice is. It's just kind of justice is just being fair and kind of loving people just because they're kind of children of God. And I don't know, as that was a couple years ago, and that's really bugged me. And that's one of the reasons why I love actually hanging out with SN campers at camp and people with special needs, because it's one way that I can love them, because I know sometimes they don't always get loved. And yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Now I'm gonna pray before we jump into our last challenge. But first, I'm gonna pray.
Mm-hmm.
God, help us to see injustice in our own communities, and in all, because we know the first step of us being able to do something about injustice is seeing it. And God, when we do see it, help us and even work through us to stand up against it. And really show you, let you shine in those moments and stand up against it, so we can be there for people experiencing injustice. And God, we just pray for people who are experiencing injustice. We pray that you'll be with them, and also, like I said, we pray that you'll work through us, that we can stand up next to them as we try to make this world a better place. In your name, amen.
Yeah, now, as you guys know, in transit, we love challenges, and we love to give out prizes. So we actually have a pretty fun challenge this week. Now, what it is earlier today, we played a game that was Would You Rather Extreme Edition. Right. You guys know it, loved it. It was amazing. It was so much fun. And so one of the things that we were just kind of given the Would You Rathers, and we had to answer. But our challenge this week is we want you guys to throw in the chat, and I'm actually going to have to pull out the chat because I accidentally put it away during the message.
Same with me.
Yeah. But we're going to throw up 60 seconds on the TV, and just in a second, not quite yet, and we want you guys to send in your Would You Rathers, and we're going to pick, at the end of the 60 seconds, we're going to pick our favorite, and we're going to give them we're going to give you guys a prize.
And I have seen how creative Transit is. So
that is true. You guys are insane.
I'm so excited to see what some of the answers are. So we're looking at the chat right now. So start throwing in your Would You Rather.
Yeah.
Maybe like an example would be like, would you rather go like skydiving or like climb a cliff? Ooh. And I would personally do neither. I'm terrified of heights.
All right, well, just hold on a second. Before we go in, we have to make sure that they have to be appropriate. Got to be
for
appropriate.
Sure. Yes.
All right, well, let's throw 60 seconds up on the screen, and you guys can start sending them in. Okay. All right. So you came what was it? Was skydiving?
So yeah, I said that just what came in my head. So yeah, skydiving or climbing a cliff. And if I had to do either of those things, it would not be a happy day. I would definitely need God to help me through that. For sure. Yeah. I'm terrified of heights. So
okay. All right, Brody, it was Would You Rather? I'm assuming it's drink. Would you rather drink lukewarm milk or
lukewarm milk or hot mayo? Okay, that is pretty gross. Okay, here's another one. I'm not good at this game. I would say because how hot is it though? Because mayo sometimes gets warm on a sandwich.
We only got
we're almost done here. Okay,
let's take a look through. Curtis was a good one. Okay. Would you rather eat ice cream or bread from GL Sharp? That's a good one.
Okay, so yeah, we've had a bunch.
I take a look at Maddie's. She said, "Would you rather would you rather own 3 mansions or the White House?"
I think we'll leave that to JR. Is that going to be your favorite one? I'll let you decide on this.
That's up there. That's up there.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's another one. I think it said, would you rather be happy all the time or be rich all the time?
Oh,
that's definitely one.
That's a good one.
something to think about.
I still think the three mansions or White House is pretty cool.
You think that's the one?
Yeah.
Well, hey,
I think we are gonna. I think that is my favorite. Do you agree, JB? Is that cool?
I agree. I
All
agree.
right. Well,
yeah.
Matt, we are gonna send you a prize. It is gonna be super exciting. Now, before we hop into our transit small groups, I just want to remind you, if you have not yet signed up for a transit small group, you can do that. There is a link in the description. Yeah, it's down there.
Right there.
And you can click on it, sign up for your very own transit small group. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to see you next week. See ya.